Hello, everyone, and welcome to another session of Q&A Qlik webinar series. Today's topic is new to Qlik Cloud, and we hope that if you're a new user or an existing user, that this webinar will help you learn some new tricks and tips or some existing ones, or just refresh your memory in doing different things with Qlik Cloud. Before we get started, just want to go over a few parameters. You can hear and see us, but we cannot hear and see you. That's why it's essential for you to add your questions into the Q&A panel below. And because we can't hear you, that is very essential, so we will be able to get to your questions. Just a few things to go over. One, we cannot answer any support cases right now, as this is just not the right form to do so, but our amazing support team, you can reach out to them and they will be able to help you with those questions or cases. Also, there is an upcoming session March 28th, and you could be able to use the QR code here that you will see, scan it with your phone and then register for that, and you would get that link in your email. And just to introduce myself before we get started, my name is Emmanuel Herndon, and I am one half of the co-hosting team here. And my job as a digital customer success specialist is to help users, new users, existing users for Qlik Cloud SaaS from trial to journey, providing them resources such as this webinar here. Again, I am one half of this co-hosting team here. My colleague, Troy, will you say hello?
Yeah, everybody, I'm Troy Rainey. I work with Qlik largely on webinars like this one, just helping customers handle things. And we've got an excellent panel of Qlik experts here, and let's just kick it around so everyone can get a chance to introduce themselves. How about we start with you, Anita?
Thanks, Troy. Hi, I'm Anita Knox, and I've been an instructional designer at Qlik for over 8 years, and I help customers like you with custom application training, designing very specific training for your needs.
Great. How about you, Chris? It looks like you're still on mute. There you go.
Had to happen to at least one of us. I'm glad it's me. Hey guys, I'm Chris Rice. I'm one of the managers of the support teams located in Lund, Sweden. It's good to see everyone here today.
Cheryl?
Hi, I'm Cheryl Mail. I am a manager for the curriculum team. So I help our curriculum developers create instructor-led training and also our self-paced Qlik continuous classroom courses for all of our customers and for our employees too. So part of what I do is I help curate the content. So I'm kind of here to help point you in the right direction if you're looking for some education materials.
Thank you. All right, Umberto?
Hello guys, Umberto here. I'm a technical adoption specialist. I work halfway between support and professional services, trying to help customers out with their onboarding process. And I'm based in Barcelona, Spain.
Excellent. And over to you, Vinay.
Hey guys, my name is Vinay, and I've been here with Qlik for more than 3.5 years now, and I am part of the cloud support team here at Qlik, and I handle the cloud cases from many of the customers we have. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, well, now it's time to go ahead and throw those questions you might have or been thinking of into the Q&A tool. And we'll kick it off with the first one. Question is, where can I learn about how to create a dashboard? Cheryl, do you want to take that one?
Sure. And yeah, as I kind of mentioned, I'm going to be showing you some of the educational resources that are available to you. So I'm going to share my screen. So this is our Qlik Learning portal, and the URL is just learning.qlik.com. I'm already logged in, but especially if you already have a Qlik community account, a Qlik.com account, if you logging into your SaaS tenant, you have access to this portal. And just very easily, just to show you one way to get started, we have learning paths for our business analysts, who we feel are the people who are creating Qlik apps to work with their data. So this is just a very easy learning plan to first get oriented with the Qlik Continuous Classroom website. And then getting started with Qlik Sense is a great module to take first off, because you first need to learn what type of environment you're using. Are you using an on-premise situation or a Qlik Cloud tenant? But we always provide example files so you can get hands-on. We have lots of interactive videos so that you can learn about the different environments. And you can, in order to get started, you need to load data. You could be working with an app that's already created, or you can create your own app. So this is a really good course that you can consider taking to learn how to quickly create a dashboard or an app in Qlik Sense. The continuous classroom modules also come with a self-paced practice, because not everybody wants to learn by watching a video. So sometimes having an instructional manual is the best way for them. So we include a practice, a takeaway document so that you don't have to take notes while you're watching the video, and a quick quiz just to see if you've learned those objectives. So again, this was on the Qlik Learning Portal, learning.qlik.com. And one of the easiest ways to go is to just start with one of the learning plans. But I'm sure that I'll be back to show you other learning resources.
And I might add, there's tons of free content. It's subscription-based,
Exactly.
but there's tons of free content. So there's something for everyone there.
Yeah, all of the How Do I videos, these are just tutorial videos. And this opens up, actually, this is a Qlik Sense mashup. So all of the content is in Qlik Sense in the background. All of these are free. And it's just quick videos on specific processes that you want to do. So if you just want to create an app, you can come down here and, how do I create an app? Quickly go to that course and watch a 3-minute video on creating an app. So this is another excellent resource, part of the How Do I's.
Okay, thank you. I know that's very helpful to our users. So we do have some questions coming in from our participants. The first question is, what is the best way to migrate apps under work from several users and keep their ownership?
Who wants to take that one?
Yeah, if nobody else knows, I can take a crack at it.
Go for it, Chris.
So we have something called Qlik CLI, which allows you to use our APIs via command line interface to interact between your own client managed environments or from client managed to cloud, vice versa, however you want to do that. I have a link for this that I can drop into the chat here. Oh, click the wrong thing. Just give me a second. So this link is specifically how to use our Qlik CLI tool. It doesn't answer your specific question, but if you go down to the chat on this Qlik community page, somebody has posted another link which gets you more in depth. So it's kind of getting you closer and closer to answering that question. I'm not sure it'll get you all the way there, but if you continue to ask questions in those community boards about the specific issues you're running into and trying to accomplish this, I'm sure the other fine people on Qlik community can help you answer those questions.
That's great. I appreciate you mentioning that resource.
Oh, yeah. I think I may have chatted to just us, so let me post that.
I just posted to everybody.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I got you covered.
Appreciate it.
All right. The next question is, what is a good practice to organize QVDs or CSV files within the Qlik Cloud? I didn't find any folder structure. And I know there's lots of ways when you're setting up new data source connections or adding data files. But does anybody have any tips on organizing
Well,
data?
What we can say is that it's true we don't have a folder structure in cloud. I think having a cloud structure in Qlik Cloud is beyond the scope of the application, and it's a lot more flexible to have the folder structure based on your external cloud. Could be Azure, could be Google Drive, could be Dropbox, anything. And this is the way that customers usually connect to the external cloud and retrieve any QVD they need, ordering them in a folder fashion.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. Next question that we have coming in. When will the console usability and functionality be improved? For example, in connection, there's no way to search or filter for connection name. I think, Chris, you want to take a stab at this?
Yeah, and it's a great question, right? There's always something that's going to be helpful to our users that we have not put into the product yet. And for all of those things, we have another part of our community called ideation, where you as a community user can put in your idea in as much detail as you can think to put in, and other community users can go and upvote your idea, add additional comments, things like this. And our product management team actively ranks these ideas, grabs the ones that they can put onto our roadmap, accomplishes them, and gives feedback right back into that same community page that this feature has been added. I did a quick search on community and I haven't seen anyone put this exact idea in there yet. So you could be the first.
That's great. All right, next question. How does section access work in the cloud? And do you need to create security rules to help limit user access? That's a good question. I know there's multiple ways of doing that. Vinay, do you want to take that one?
Yep, I can take that. So with regard to the section access, we don't have the option to create security rules in Qlik Cloud. However, you can include the section access script in the load script, and you can use that to limit the user access inside the app. So we have a lot of examples created on our help site. I can share the link with you, and those are the more helpful links you can follow through, because it follows the more enterprise customers, and the examples are really helpful over there. I can share the link in the chat.
Awesome.
All right, thank you. Again, he said that link will be posted in the chat for everyone to see. So do we have a next question? And the next question is there an API endpoint with which we can extract logs from, you got away from me. And that question disappeared.
So I think I remember reading the question. It's about using an API endpoint to extract logs from their tenant, right?
Yeah, tenant programming. Or
programmatically,
programmatically, yeah. I know that the amount of logs available to users is limited, and we have our own apps that you can use to kind of go through those and display your own data. But I'm not sure if there's another way to pull those logs out via an API. Vinay or Umberto, do you guys know?
Not that I'm aware of. I heard that they were looking at the possibility of extracting some logs from the cloud environment, but then again, depends which type of logs. So it's certainly something they are looking at, but I'm not sure when we're going to have news about it.
Yeah, but that being said, the apps that we do have where you can kind of look at your tenant's performance and whatnot, that app will have a load script. You can take a look at that load script and see what calls we're making in there, and then pull those same calls into an app of your own if you wish.
That's a good point, Chris, because really from the end user perspective or the customer, the tenant perspective, let's say, having the logs would mean possibly to understand, usage, telemetry information, and that's available already in the apps, as you said. Unlikely they would be interested in finding out any specific technical log about, the API call or stuff like that, I guess.
Great, thank you guys. So next question, I was kind of looking up things in the background. Is there any Qlik NPrinting equivalent for the Qlik Sense Enterprise SaaS on the pipeline for the foreseeable future? And I thought this would be a great opportunity to plug one of our previous sessions. So I'm going to share my screen. I hope you guys can see my screen. Let me maybe make this a little bit bigger. On Qlik Community is where you can find the recordings of, did you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Great, thanks. You can find recordings of previous Q&A with Qlik sessions just under, how did I get here? Blogs and events, Q&A with Qlik. And we got a little tab here called past events, and you can find all the previous recordings there. One of them is one we did in January on making the move to Qlik Cloud reporting, where we highlighted the amazing features that are available right now with Qlik Cloud reporting. And basically that is the cloud version of NPrinting. And it doesn't do everything one for one if you're looking at migrating, like that's a whole other discussion, but it has a lot of amazing capabilities. So I recommend watching this video and seeing what Andrew Kruger has to say about it. And a lot of the questions you can see that were asked about that session is here. So definitely check that out when you have time. Andrew Kruger and Johnny Poole do a lot better job of answering that, but here's where you can find the recording. All right, what's the next one, Manny?
All right. Thanks, Troy. Will there be an option in the future in the Qlik Cloud to create an onboarding custom page, especially for large user groups? Anyone have any thoughts?
An onboarding page.
Yeah, I could talk a little bit about that because I was actually talking with R&D about this type of thing not too long ago. So first is ideation, like I mentioned before, right? If there's a new feature or something that you want, that is the first place to start. But what you're generally talking about is what we call white labeling, allowing your company to customize our product with some of your own content, right? And that is something that we're looking at heavily as a company, not only allow for you to onboard your users better, but to also allow for some of our OEM partners to better utilize our products and resell it to other people. So if you have other white labeling use cases, please do add them to ideation and try to use that term white labeling just so we can sort it by that stuff and make sure we get all as much of it in one go as possible.
And when it comes to onboarding, Anita, you want to mention about custom onboarding?
The custom onboarding?
Yeah,
The custom application training?
Yeah.
How customers can work with you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Absolutely. So yeah, with custom application training, we work directly with you in your app. We use your branding, all of your resources, and it's designed to work around your business needs. So we learn about your business, we learn about you, and we come up with this great use case plan to develop training that's very specific to your needs. So that might also help you.
Great.
Okay. Well, the question was it was answered internally within the chat, but it was, will it be possible in the future to reload applications at shorter intervals, such as the current 1 hour? An alternative with Qlik Application Automation consumes too many runs here.
Well,
Yeah.
there are different ways of running, reloading apps in a shorter time than an hour. Not immediately available in the cloud, that's true, but available, for instance, by using CLI. Chris mentioned that earlier. You can reload apps at will by using the CLI, which is a scripting tool, speaking to the cloud. Some customers, many customers, they are also using the combination of the enterprise edition of Qlik Sense with Qlik Cloud. So they're reloading in the enterprise environment, and they're pushing them to the cloud. So those are two ways of getting the apps reloaded in a shorter time. Now, if there is any plan to short this time in the cloud, I'm not really sure about it. Never heard about it. So I don't know if it's in the roadmap.
Renee, you want to verbalize what you sent privately?
Oh yeah, we do have ideas suggested on our community to. In the hub, we don't have the option to reload the apps more frequently than an hour. So we have an idea suggested already on our community forum to improve that. However, as Sambato mentioned, we do have the option via CLI, and another option is to via the Qlik automation. As a single automation run will consume a single run of automation, like one run of the automation, whole automation will consume one automation run. So basically, if you have an app and you have multiple apps to reload at a single time, you can just schedule it via task chaining and then set it to reload every 5 minutes, so that the reloads are running parallelly and one by one, and it will consume a single automation count for the whole automation run, not for the app. So if you're looking to reload multiple apps or one number of apps, then we probably need to purchase additional automation counts.
Great, thanks. Okay, next question. How do I choose the kind of space to use? In which case should we use which one of them? Private, shared, managed? Who wants to address that one?
Okay, real quick. We have two types of spaces: the shared spaces and the managed spaces. Beside the personal space, obviously, the shared spaces are used to create a cooperation between users who are developing the visual part of the apps. So the data model is owned by one single user, but the visual part, the graphic, the design layer, let's say, is shared between users who are creating charts, dashboards, and so on and so forth. So that's a way to create a collaboration between users, developers, and that's a shared space. Instead, the managed space is meant for consumption usage only. So the users access to the managed space and the apps in the managed space to be able to visualize and make selections in the charts, and therefore creating their own decision, making their own decision about the data. So the purpose of the two spaces are different. One is mainly for developing, and the other one is for consumption.
Okay, thank you. I even learned something right there. We have a next question coming in, and the question is: subscriptions on cloud seems fairly limited compared to the power of NPrinting on-prem only. Are there plans to enhance subscriptions or bring NPrinting to the cloud?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I was just looking up from that recording of Q&A with Qlik making the move to Qlik Cloud reporting to see if Andrew Kruger, the product manager for that, might have addressed it. And A similar question came up in that session. When will there be a full-fledged NPrinting replacement in the cloud? And I'm going to post his answer to that in the chat here. But that's a link to a YouTube video, so you don't have to watch it now, but maybe later copy and paste that, and he does address that. I don't remember exactly what he said, but take a look. Unless anyone else has any insight onto that. Yeah, and Andrew was the guy, and unfortunately, a slightly different topic. So we'll move on to the next question. We see a lot of issues with pivot table column size. Takes a lot of space on the enterprise version. Do we have fix for them in cloud? I know pivot tables are very popular. Anybody have any insight into that? Wanted to address it?
There is a new pivot table coming up in the cloud first, and then obviously will be also in the enterprise, in the premise edition. It should be coming up in April, as far as I know. First, they're gonna publish the straight table, a new version of the straight table, and then second turn will be for the pivot table. And that should possibly address many of the concerns raised by users.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that. Next question. They're asking why do they not have access on the management console to look at all groups on the Qlik SaaS environment? And they said just to see if it's going to help a lot. Anyone have an idea? Any thoughts?
Well, it probably has to be related to their role. If they don't have access to the management console, yeah.
Exactly.
So I would work with the system administrator or whoever owns the tenant to plead your case and tell them you need to be able to see more, and hopefully they can set you up with that type of permissions.
Yeah, because that information is available. It's just that it sounds like your user account on that tenant doesn't have access to it.
It's always easier to keep everything limited and then dole things out as needed. So that might be your company situation.
Thanks, Cheryl. Next question. Is it possible to carry over filter with variables from different data sets? For example, I have gender in student and HR data. If one selects male in student dashboard sheets, how could this selection be carried over to the HR sheet? I have some ideas. Anybody want to address that one?
If it's just different sheets in the same map, then the easiest way to do that would be to connect the fields in your data model, because then the selection will automatically carry over.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
I mean, that's part of the associative selection. So it might be that the app developer purposefully set a set expression or something to avoid the connection. So it goes back into designing the app.
But just so you understand some possibilities, one of the great things about cloud is that there's some options where you can create a button that will immediately take you over to open up a new app. And if they have a similar data structure, you can even move some selections over. But I just wanted to plug the ability to chain between apps, but sounds like if it's the same data set, it should work fine within the same app on different sheets.
Just to add to that, we have a option of creating a shared variable. You can just create that and it works with inside the space, but not to a different space. But the apps are in a single space, then you can create a shared variable and use it across multiple apps, and it will filter out the contents according to the variable. I can share the link on that.
Great.
Okay. Next question. Is there a monitoring app that will monitor the user's clicks, helps to investigate if someone has access to something they aren't supposed to, and what they clicked on?
So no is the short answer. The longer answer that's called heat mapping. It's something that we have explored before adding into our product, but we haven't pulled the trigger on it because we couldn't tell from our ideation submissions that there was enough customer demand for it. So I think it's a great idea, obviously, because we've thought about it. But if you want to add that into ideation and get other people from your company to upvote it, that's a great idea. Now, I don't think that quite solves the monitor other people getting access to stuff that they shouldn't have access to part of your question. That's more around making sure your security is set up properly within the app, however you are asking that question. A typical heat mapping software does not necessarily tell you the selections that the customer makes, but more shows you where in the page they are clicking on average, so that you can track stuff like, oh, a lot of people followed this flow, so maybe we should make that flow a little bit easier.
Great, thank you for that. Okay, next question. Will there be any way to prevent users from uploading data files and/or create new connections in their personal space?
Well,
go ahead.
the analyzer entitlement, for instance, does not permit any user to upload anything. So it really depends on the permissions, but it's already possible to prevent users from loading data in the cloud. Yeah. It depends on the permission that is being provided or the entitlement. Let me show you something, for instance. Not sure if you can
We can
see
see
it.
your screen, but it's very small. Can you zoom in?
Let's see. Can you see it better?
A little bit.
Yeah. You see, for instance, to upload data files, the analyzer is unable to do so. It's the 31st of the actions available in the grid. There are other. This is for the share space. Obviously, we have the same for the personal spaces, but I don't have it here handy. But for sure, the analyzer entitlement will inhibit the user from uploading any type of data and even creating, obviously, apps inside their personal spaces.
And if you're not quite sure what we're referring to by analyzer, I think that might be a conversation better answered by your account manager. They can dive into all the possibilities with your license and some options that are available there for you. Let's see, the next question was around release updates. Before in Qlik, once or twice a year, a new service release was released, which you could test before implementing in production. We had control over the upgrade process. In Qlik Cloud, it seems that release updates happen all the time. First, it requires to read up on every new release note, and it's implemented without testing it. Am I right? Testing for backwards compatibility is important, no? Chris, do you want to address that one?
Yeah, sure. And it's a great question. You're not the only customer who's asking the same thing to support. So you are right that there is no way currently for end users to test the new features that we put into Qlik Cloud. That doesn't mean that we don't do a massive amount of testing on our side before pushing out new features. As well, we're pushing out new stuff every day, not just once a month. We have a major release on a weekly basis, but it's every day that new things are being fixed or added or something like that. So our objective with that is to make sure that all the pushes that we are making to cloud ensure backwards compatibility and stuff like that. And in situations where we can't ensure backwards compatibility, maybe there is a bug fix around some security issue that we know is going to break a certain amount of things, but due to the secure nature of this bug fix, we need to push it out anyway. We try to forewarn users as much as possible. Either that's going to be in a support blog update or a message when you log in to Qlik Cloud, a little pop-up message. You sometimes see those, hopefully both. But we try to be as proactive as possible in communicating that type of stuff.
Okay, thank you. That was a great explanation right there. We have many questions coming in, so we're going to move on to our next question. And our next question is there any link that can be shared with us that might help learning about the Qlik Application Automation? Is there any classroom that might help us more? Cheryl, will you take that away?
Yes, and I meant to type in an answer instead of answering it live. But once we get it moved over to Answered, I'll throw a link into the continuous classroom course that it talks about app automation and provides some examples that you can work with. But yeah, I'll add those to the Answered section.
Thanks. All right, next question then. Any way a user can reload manually? Has it manually trigger a reload?
Well,
I believe I've seen that possible with application
you
automation.
right-click in the app, you'll be able to reload it, provided you have the permissions, obviously.
But is that something I can do if it's already in the managed space?
Even
Yes.
the managed space, you can reload, yes.
Great.
Provided you have permissions.
Thank you for that. Next question. Will Qlik Cloud offer out-of-the-box version control for the apps?
So I can answer that a little bit. There is a coming feature. I can't promise when it will be out that allows for version control for the script. If you want version control for the apps, there's an excellent third-party tool called Qlik that you can use for that type of thing.
Awesome. Next question. Can Mac users on Chrome browser, I got lost, there it is, export the CSV Excel data from Qlik? I have a Mac user that can only export to PDF. And I'm on a Mac, and I'm pretty sure I can export to CSV. Does anybody else want to address that? I'm going to try and test right now.
I think you should be able to
test as well.
You should be able to export to CSV or other data formats available. Maybe we just need a support keys and we need to investigate.
That's a good tip. So yes, it is certainly possible. And if some specific user is having some issues, yeah, maybe you can open up a support chat or a case, and let's take a closer look. Great, we're doing good. We're working through these questions.
Okay, next question. Is there a way to send mail from Qlik Cloud without creating a rule in our firewall? I think about SPF records in DNS that allows foreign and identified domains to send mail as others. It applies a mail server in Qlik Cloud. Anybody have any thoughts?
Think that may be a bit too complicated for this new to Qlik subject, but what I would encourage you to do is go to the either application automation or reporting section in community and post that question. So just so everyone's aware of how this works. Other community users can see your question and post their own responses to it. But as a support team, we also monitor these channels to make sure that things are moving along. So you don't have to be afraid that your question just gets stagnant, right? So please do use our community space. It's a great way to get quick answers, even on complicated subjects.
I would also like to add a consideration. We strongly recommend email communication via mass email tools like SendGrid, like MailChimp, for many reasons, but mainly because obviously you may have a bombarding activity from the cloud if there is a lot of notification triggered. Keep that in mind, so that would bypass all these problems.
Thanks, Umberto. A question came in. I wanted to at least address it. Why the person's wondering why Qlik Forts is going to be retired in a few months. Does anybody have any insight as to the limitations that Qlik ran into there with that product?
So you may have seen several different attempts at data security when it comes to hosting your own data and being able to display it in cloud. Qlik Forts is one of those attempts, but what we ultimately found most successful is our data gateway product, which is why we are expanding the usage of that and shutting down the other ways of doing it. So if you were intent on self-hosting the data but making it visible via an app, data gateway is your way to go.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Next question that came in is, in an app located in a shared space, a user can select specific users to share a community sheet he published. So can a user select specific users to share a community sheet that is published?
No, the community sheets are generally shared with all users. However, the user can create a note on a specific sheet and notify a specific user that something is valuable or to be considered in that chart or in that sheet of the app. But to my knowledge, there's no possibility, at least at the moment, to share the sheet only with one person.
That's great, thanks. Okay, next question is, how is it possible to see if a field is used in any dashboard? I guess we're looking for some monitoring when it comes to fields. Anyone want to take that?
That sounds like the lineage capability. I'm not well versed on that, but I do have a link to the help if that would be helpful.
Yeah, that would be great if you can post that
Sure.
into everyone.
Okay, next question. I want super users to create sheets in company approved apps, but not upload new data.
Yeah, we can explore these together. Again, let me share the same grid I showed earlier. To create private sheets, you need to be professional. You need to have a professional entitlement. Okay, but if you want for a user to open data manager and data load editor, so in other words, to create a data connection as well, because that's included, obviously, then you'll need to make sure that is not the owner of the app inside the share space. You see this green circle with the orange symbol. It means that the user is a professional entitlement user, but is also owner of the app. So if the user is not the owner of the app, is only able to create sheets, but is unable to access the data load editor and the data manager, and therefore is unable to create connections.
Thanks for clarifying that for us, Humberto. We've got a few questions left. We'll try to get to them all. The next one is there a possibility to use FTP or FTPS in Qlik Cloud? I only can find SFTP. SFTP.
Yep, we do have the option in automation, but there is no FTP inbuilt connectors in Qlik SaaS. You would need to use the Qlik automation. However, SFTP has been released like this week itself, so it might take some time for the FTP to follow up that the release. But I don't see any roadmap for the FTP. I could see only for the SFTP. So we have the option already in Qlik automation. FTP the connector is already available, so probably can use that as the workaround for now.
I doubt we would implement FTP because it is going over, public internet.
Good point.
Okay, thank you. Next question. Why GetFieldSelection do not return the values in the selection order? Currently, it returns in alphabetical order.
I don't know that we do anything in selection order, right? If you're selecting multiple items in a field, before you finish your selection, you're going to have to do confirm selection, and then we just build an array of your selections in alphabetical order. So I don't think there's a function within Qlik to determine the selection order, period.
Thanks, Chris. I had no insight on that one, so I appreciate that. Next question. Is there an audit of user selections made in an app? And I believe there is, but I'm just on the outskirts of the capability of what logging there is in Qlik Cloud. But does anybody know more than I do?
I know that this is a capability in our client-managed version of Qlik Sense. I'm not sure if it also exists in the Qlik Cloud. If not to sound redundant, but there's an idea for ideation.
Okay.
It's probably another good plug for Qlik Community.
There you go.
Yeah.
Please post that question on Qlik Community, because there's a larger community out there that's monitored, as we've said, by Qlikies, both within Qlik Company and outside, and it's good to get asked that on a larger forum.
Okay, thank you for that. This is a two-part question. They said, hello, can we use the direct query option for SaaS Cloud to connect to Oracle on-prem database? And the second question is, will the direct query option be available anytime soon for non-cloud platforms?
Direct query is not currently available for the on-prem databases. Currently, we only support cloud platforms such as Databricks, Google BigQuery, and Snowflake. other data connections are currently not supported for the direct query. So I'm not really sure when that option is going to be available soon. It might be for the product management team to comment on that.
Great, thanks. Couple more questions are sneaking in. We'll see if we can get to them before we run out of time. Someone's asking to share that action space permission grid that Umberto was showing. And I don't know if that's publicly available, Umberto, but you can always ask your account manager and they can give you a lot more detail and possibly share apps like that.
I'm working on it. I'd like to create an article. For the time being, is material we are going to use for a workshop, which is under preparation. But the idea is to create an article so that everybody will be able to see it and use it, enjoy it.
Great, thanks. All right, next question is, when a user is trying to create a data connection in Qlik Sense desktop using a web file, he gives the URL as http localhost port and click on the create, gives the connection timed out error. Uh-oh, this sounds like a support case. What would be the cause? What needs to be validated in the user's desktop? Okay, so anybody? Well, basically you're going to need to go to Qlik Community under support and chat with support, because that sounds like a very specific support case. And maybe there's actually an article out there that has a solution with your specific timed out error. But my best recommendation is to reach out to Qlik Community, because I believe the answer is there. And Manny, do you want to take the last question?
Yes, I will. For field, I mean a table field in the data model, how to find if it is used in some objects in some dashboards, not for lineage. Thanks. Anyone have any thoughts?
So I think what Cheryl was trying to get at there is, in order to determine if a field from any of your apps is used, there needs to be some type of metadata on that app and what is being used, and all that metadata needs to be collated into a single place so that you can see from a high level view what is and is not being used. And Lineage is the product that has that type of capability to see where all the data is coming from and going to. Now, I'm not sure it connects exactly those two dots, but it should get really close if it doesn't.
That's great, Chris. And we got one last question sneaking in. Oh, they keep coming. So we're probably not going to get to all the questions today, but we'll try and address some questions offline and send those to you or post them with the recording on Qlik Community afterwards, but we'll see what we can do in 60 seconds. So in the old days, and I think that means Qlik View, we could make whole Qlik dashboards available to public users using the Ajax interface. Reading the documentation, it seems that in order to do the same with Sense, you need to build a website and embed all the objects you want from that app. Is there a simple way of publishing a Qlik Cloud app for public access?
I guess he's referring to an anonymous login.
Yeah,
I'm not quite sure.
That's what that would be, anonymous.
Well,
and there is a capacity licensing available, right?
Yes, the QOP.
But is that
I think it's
anonymous?
called,
Yeah, I mean, we have the option to create iframes and use the anonymous authentication. I'll share that article in the chat.
Great. All right, well, that's all the time we have for today. I really appreciate all the questions that everyone has brought. We love this kind of participation, and thank you very much to our panel. I appreciate everybody's time and effort on this, and hope you all have a great rest of your day.